Alright, so this is the story of my mom completely ignoring classic driving advice. Don't chase the car in a hit and run. So, we just left our house and we were sitting at a red light. And my mom was doing the classic mom thing, yelling at my brother, trying to teach him the importance of buckling his seatbelt, which he was ignoring. And at the time, I was also in the back seat, already buckled, and I looked back out the window and I saw a white pickup truck. It wasn't OJ, and it seemed harmless at the time. And my mom's yelling, and my brother clicks the seatbelt in, and not a few seconds later, bam! We get rear-ended by this white pickup truck. And we're all in shock, we're just completely floored by this. My mom had the forethought in the moment to slam on the brakes so we didn't go into the intersection. And so we completely stopped. The car turned off. And in that moment, we're trying to process it. We haven't even figured out like really what's going on. The guy decides that this is the opportune time to drive past us. And he drives and just turns left and just starts driving and just scrapes the entire side of the car, just all the way around, goes around us, drives through the light that's still red, through like past cars that are still driving, goes through and starts driving very slowly away from the scene. And just then, the light turns green and my mom turns into like Hulk, you know, Mama Bird, just like, Aah! And she turns the car on, it magically works, and she floors it through the light, and goes and follows this guy, you know, zigzags down these random little streets and chases him to a dead-end neighborhood. And she finds him in here, and she actually blocks the street, and she decides, you know, this is pre-phone, so she didn't have a phone on her. Pre-cell phone, sorry, phones existed. And she gets out, and she starts yelling, like, help, help, you know, I need the police. And yells this over and over again, and the guy is still in the car, he's just kind of like, sitting in the car, hanging out, I guess. He was also in some bushes, by the way. You know, he ended up kind of over the curb. And she's yelling and screaming. Finally, someone comes out, decides to help, and they offer assistance, and we actually use the landline and finally get to call the police. And you know, a few minutes later, we stay with this person. The police come. The guy's still in the truck this whole time. And you know, leaving the scene of the crime, can't talk right now, leaving the scene of the crime is really not a great thing to do, but my mom had two things in her favor that night. One, a taxi driver who had seen the whole thing, dropped off his fare, and then actually came back and said everything that happened and realized like where my mom drove and figured it out and got there. And then the best part though, the real icing on the cake, was after that happened, the police are there, and they decide they're going to go up to the door, and they ask this guy to get out of the car. And sure enough, he gets out of the car, and he literally has a bottle of Jack Daniels in his hand, and stumbles out of the car, and he starts to run, and he basically makes it like 2 steps, and just face plants, like right on the ground. It's like, yes! And of course, that like my mom obviously was not at fault. Everything was fine. It all worked out great. It was the thrill of the chase. Thank you very much.